This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV. Delighted to be joined on a Thursday afternoon here with a very in shape, trim looking Edward Hearn. All right, mate?
I love the way you looked me up and down when you said that. I'm good, mate. Been a very busy couple of weeks. It's been a very busy week of planning. I didn't do the press conference today in Newcastle. I'll be up there later. Because Next Gen this week wanted to give young Francis Smith an opportunity to do the presser. Different kind of format with Darren Barker and Jordan Benn. I feel like it was a little bit of a cop-out. Do you know what I mean? Because Frank actually did really well. And he'll now go, oh, I was really, I've done really well there. But you didn't host it. Do you know what I mean? Hosting is a unique ability.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like I am the only promoter that hosts press conferences. You might not think I'm very good at it, but I'm still only the only one.
Yeah, but to be fair, you've been hosting them for like 14, 15 years, so if you couldn't do them after that, then you're some sort of moron, aren't you?
Let's be honest, I could do them after the very first one, son, because some of us are just special.
You're definitely that. Okay, I don't even know really where to start. It's like a weird... I feel like this year is like going to end up in a massive like anti-climax in a certain way. Right? Let me explain, first of all. Like, this whole Benn-Eubank situation, first of all, like now obviously you confirmed a little while ago that the target was for January now. And obviously we had that conversation ages ago. I know we put that bet on, but I am disappointed really that the fight's not taking place this year. But we haven't got long to wait on that, have we?
No, I mean, we'll come to the bet in a minute because I don't want you to keep going on about the bet. So the plan for us was to fight Eubank on December 23rd. We had the situation of Fury Usyk, and we probably should have pulled the trigger anyway. But it was very difficult when we're being told, and people in the industry are being told, that December 23rd was the date. And I'm sure that was the planned date, but also at the same time, like, I felt it was very unlikely because of the time between the fight and before the Ngannou fight. So we lost the opportunity really to do that because we then didn't want to go 7 weeks out. And to be quite honest, we don't have a complete deal on that fight yet. I mean, we're pretty much there with Connor. Calla is very close with Junior. I think we're going to get there, but the reality is we needed more time. And nothing's changed from the last interview, which is January 27th or February the 3rd. And I truly believe that fight will get made for that date. I mean, as you know, we had a bet, £500, that the fight would happen on December 23rd.
To be fair, I know we did that bet, and I know you've lost it, clearly, but I did it thinking that you were going to pull it off anyway. I've got to say. I did just do it because I thought to myself, either way, if I lose my stake in this, then it doesn't really matter because we get to see the fight. But yeah. Well, I was thinking you are going to pull it off, yeah.
Yeah, and I was very confident in my own ability, as always, that I would pull it off. It now looks like it's going to be 4 weeks later, hopefully. But yeah, I really believed that we would get that made. So it was a £500 bet.
It was for
charity.
Yeah, exactly, a charity.
I told you to name your charity. I did say to you in an interview the other day, name your charity, and I will make the payment. All
right. Well, okay. Well, the charity I'm going to choose for this is the Samaritans. So, like, are you just going to deal with it, or?
Yeah, no. Before you leave today, you will witness my transaction to the Samaritans. Yeah. And if you want me to screenshot it and send it to you, you can even put it on your story and say, man of his word, because I pay my debts and I pay my bets.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, listen, much appreciated. I'm sure the Samaritans will much appreciate your donation of 500 English pounds, Edward. So, yeah, I mean, look, you're one of these people over the years, I generally think that if you say something, you're going to do it. And you're not one to ever pull out of a bet, are you? Like, if you said it and it's on camera, then you'd do it, wouldn't you? Like you did with this one, yeah?
Yes, but...
Yeah. No, I was just looking through some old videos the other day. This video come up. Fucking hell, mate. Wait there. Have a look.
26th. We'll have 4 shows in February. So
December 2021.
basically, throughout the whole of the year, and probably 2 shows on many weekends as well. In fact, if we're sitting here this time next year, and we haven't done 50 shows, I will allow you to give me a free backhand slap across the chops.
On camera.
On camera.
If you haven't done 50.
Or I'll do it, I'll get a tattoo.
An IFL tattoo.
Be like Jack Cullen with his North Face.
Yeah, I'll do 50.
I'm not sure I'll get an IFL tattoo, but maybe some kind of other tattoo.
I just want to read... Right.
I mean...
Now, hold on, can I just talk for a second, just before you say anything, yeah? So, I'm not sure the exact number of shows you've done for a start, but I'm 99.9% sure you did not do 50 shows in a calendar year of 2022.
I did.
Okay.
I mean...
Listen.
It wasn't...
I'll tell you what, listen, I'm just saying to you, right? So, the offer there was a 1 or 2. So it was my interpretation of what a slap on camera would be. Or, and I know you've got no tattoos, so you've got to get a tattoo. If I was you, I'd just take one. We could do it here.
But what...
Go on.
I remember that conversation. I don't remember the slap being broadcast.
But I said on camera.
I know. But also, I don't feel like it was a proper bet, but you've stuck it right on me. With regards to the slap,
Yeah.
are we, you got that Dana White thing now that's now, I mean, is it, because I've now...
No, but I'm not going to tell you that. It's not going to be a closed fist. So how I decide to do it is up to me. Like, I'm not going to tell you exactly how I'm going to do it, so you can prepare yourself for it. But if you want to do it, I swear to God, we'll do it right now.
Here.
Yeah.
No, you go...
Go on. No, hold on.
I'll let... No, but...
Or, listen, or get the fucking IFL tattoo on you, mate.
I didn't say... I said no IFL.
I said an IFL tattoo.
What about a matchroom tattoo?
A matchroom tattoo. Do you know what? I will say... Oh, I'm going to give you... Not a get out with this, because I'd rather get slapped. I've got tattoos, but if I didn't have one, I'll take the slap. I'll take the slap.
Look, I'm not... Do you realise...
Did you get a tattoo, though?
Yeah, but do you realise how stupid I'd look with a tattoo? Like, my old man got 2 tattoos. Like, I'm talking about 3 years ago, because it was on his bucket list.
Look, okay, look.
If you are...
Not an IFL one, then. Would you just get a tattoo? But it can't be something... It's got to be something that's visible.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not having a visible one.
What do you mean?
I'm not having a visible one. No way.
What do you mean?
Mate, if you want to talk about the wording, when did I go, or I'll get a tattoo and a visible one?
No, what I mean is, it can't be like a little, a mole there, and you go, yeah, size-wise, it's got to be something that we can... No, it can't be something like that. I don't know. But
You don't know.
No, I don't know. I know. But listen, all right, make the choice now.
Okay.
Either do the tattoo, and do you know what? I will get you to my guy. I'll get you to my guy.
I might choose a slap.
All right, well, listen, I can get you... I know you could probably...
Get him on the phone. What's his name?
Paul.
I want to know if it hurts.
It depends. There's no way you're going to get a tattoo done anyway. Why don't you just let me slap you?
I can't have one that you can see. I'm not having one on my suit where you
I get that.
a shirt that pops out the arm or something like that. Right, it's going to have to be...
Let me see. It's probably working. Let me see.
What's his name?
Paul.
Kind of feel like I'm being bullied into this a little bit.
This is a complete waste of time. There's no way you're actually doing that. No, he's not answering. Oh. All right, mate? All right, mate? You're in the middle of an interview here, by the way, just so you know. Look, camera's set up here. And I'm interviewing this guy here.
What's happening, Paul? Paul, he's trying to stick it on me here. Does it hurt?
He's lost the bet. Listen, I'll explain later properly. He's lost the bet where the alternative was either me open slap him in the face or get a tattoo. So now he's edging towards the tattoo thing. So I said, we'll book it in and we'll do it now. You do it.
Paul, What I was thinking, Paul, was a nice Matchroom logo or a picture of me.
Hold on, let me just get you.
I've got a picture of you on yourself.
Yeah, a picture of myself, maybe. I thought that'd be nice.
That's a bit self-obsessed, isn't it?
That, well, you obviously know me very well. Or a nice Matchroom logo, or I'll come up with something nice, I don't know, maybe a psalm or maybe some nice words, but I'll get it boxed.
You're going to do it? You're going to get a tattoo?
How long has he got to think about it? Well, it doesn't matter to you, but by the end of this interview...
Yeah, but you know, after this interview, if you put this out,
Yeah.
you know it's going to become a thing.
Regardless, so you're not going to come away. What? Or just let me slap you in the face now.
Go on, book him in.
Book him in.
I'll do it.
You'd rather do a tattoo than
Yeah,
slap
what,
you in
on
the
here
face?
now? No.
You're mad. You're actually mad. All right,
Tell him
Paul,
we'll find a time next week.
We'll find a time next week and we'll... can we film it though as well?
Wait,
Can we
I
film
didn't
it?
say anything about filming it.
Well, no, the content, isn't it?
All right.
Right, Paul Box and Tattoos, by the way, done all my work. Thank you very much and we'll speak to you in a bit.
Nice one. All right.
Good. You're mad.
What, I'm not going to get a slap on TV, am I? At least a slap. A slap gets played back like a million times. That'll go in, I'll get something on me back, and then...
Right, listen, I don't know how long this interview is going to last, yeah?
Like,
But
hopefully people forget about that.
But what I will say is one thing. You have got, I will say, until the end of this interview to change your mind. Once this interview ends, I'm putting this out regardless. So you're not...
If it goes out, I don't have... I mean...
Yeah, you do. You've called it on now. You've made this into a bigger thing. To be honest with you, I'd probably have let you swerve it. Definitely not now.
Yeah, but once you start telling me... If you call someone a knocker, or they don't pay their debts, or they don't pay their bets, it's just too embarrassing. Like, you can't...
You've got till the end of this interview to change your mind. Because, listen, you've not got any tattoos. This is mad.
I'll do it, but it has to be somewhere where you can't see
You
it.
said ages ago that you'd consider one, so...
Yeah, I don't mind. Like, I think, like, I would never have got a tattoo, but my old man had one for a laugh, and I don't want one. I do not want a tattoo. Like, I'm not sitting there going, oh, I really want a tattoo, but for a bit of banter and to pay my debts, I'll yeah, might possibly.
I don't still see it happening, but we'll see.
If I get Matchroom on my back, I just feel like could live to regret that, because Jack Cullen has got a North Face one.
Yeah, what happens if your company goes into admin? Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
obviously that's not going to happen. But what happens if we end up merging with someone massive and floating, and we change the company name, and I've got this thing on the back? So
A tattoo, that's it. Leave it there. A tattoo.
cool. Can we go on to the serious stuff?
You're 44.
No, that's my male menopause again.
Okay, what is the situation regarding Anthony Joshua? By the way, watched the Louis Theroux interview yesterday. I was name checked a couple of times in it. I wouldn't fight Louis Theroux anyway. He's 53. I thought it was a different type of interview. I thought like Louis Theroux's style of doing that brought out kind of different things from Joshua, the stuff they were talking. But what did you think about it? Because I think some of that stuff, I know Joshua's mentioned that stuff before, but you know, the stuff about the drugs from years ago, etc., all that kind of stuff. But he was quite open in that interview, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, Louis Theroux is very good at that kind of thing. It had to be something different. Obviously, it was a huge audience on BBC. I think AJ's just in a space where he's become like, he understands the game, he understands life. He's comfortable within himself, and he doesn't mind speaking freely about that kind of stuff, you know? Like, I think some of the stuff he said, particularly like, he just always felt that everything he said, everything he did just had to be, if it wasn't 100% right, people would shoot him down in flames. And when he lost, that happens a lot faster, you know. And I go back to Fury losing the other week, or nearly losing, whatever. It just switches. Do you know what I mean? Like, the popularity can switch against you so fast. Maybe it's happened to you at some point in your journalism career. It's definitely happened to me, where 1 minute you can feel so positive and everyone's sort of like, yeah, and it's like, and the next minute, boom, you're just a villain. And it's difficult to deal with, and I think he's definitely had to go through that experience, and I don't think he was ever prepared or schooled for what came in his life. Do you know what I mean? But the change that I've seen in AJ is this part of his career is really about himself and about his legacy, his own career, rather than doing things to make people happy or doing things because that's what's expected of him or doing things to create legacy for British boxing and etc. Do you know what I mean? And it's not even really, like, when I speak to him now, the only thing that really motivates him, is winning the world heavyweight title. No money, no nothing. He wants to fight the best, but he wants to fight for the world heavyweight title. And whatever route can get him there the fastest, he will do. And I like that because I don't want someone's... AJ doesn't need to fight. He doesn't need the money. As far as I'm concerned, he has the best resume in the heavyweight division. Study it and tell me I'm wrong. He's been a game changer for boxing in this country. But if you are still fighting for legacy and for championships, that tells me everything I need to know. So he's not going to me, look, just give me the biggest fight possible for the most amount of money. I've only got a few left. What he's saying to me, how do we get back in a position to become a 3-time world heavyweight champion? And that's motivating. So that's where he's at in his career. And this is, like I said, it's like he definitely wants to perform for the fans and stuff like that. But this is really about him. And we've got a job to do to finish off his career. And I truly believe he'll win another world heavyweight title. And I think it'll be his greatest moment yet. But the proof will be in the pudding.
We're 9th of November, obviously only literally 6 weeks until 7 weeks until Christmas, etc. Would you say it's highly unlikely that we see Anthony Joshua fight this year now?
Yeah, not highly unlikely. I'd go as far to say unlikely. There are still some conversations going on regarding December 23rd. That's all I'll say at the moment. I think it's 6 weeks on Saturday.
December 23rd where?
It would be internationally if we box that date. It's 6 weeks on Saturday. He's ready to fight on that date. But if we can, he would like to. But it's not the be-all and end-all. Really, this fight in December or January will lead to either Deontay Wilder, which we'll come on to, the world heavyweight title, if a vacant title comes available, which it could do, or Francis Ngannou. That's really after this fight, that's the only fights I see for him. So that's where we're at. If we can get December 23rd, we'd be ready to go. But it's 6 weeks on Saturday.
6 weeks on Saturday. So the level of opponent we shouldn't be too excited about if with 6 weeks.
I think it would be a guy.
Who, can you tell us who you're talking to?
Hergovic. I mean,
Hergovic?
To be honest with you, there's no real deep conversations, as in contractual conversations with fighters. But an Otto Warlin, a Philip Hergovic, a Caballero, somebody in the top 15. People talk about Charles, not Charles, and that's not something that's been discussed. So it's not going to be Wilder and Ngannou. If it was Ngannou, we'd be ready to go. But that's where we're at. And go on.
Where did the discussions then end about realistically with Ngannou about something to happen this year?
Nothing. I messaged Ngannou's team the other day and said, firstly, congratulations. They came back and said thank you. And then I said, if you want to fight Anthony Joshua, you should come back to me because we're planning his next fights, not fights. And if you want to be a part of those plans, and or you even want to discuss it, we should talk. And I didn't hear back. So probably not. But listen, that's you've got 2 fights there that away from Fury Usyk are, without doubt, the biggest fights in boxing. Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua, and weirdly, Anthony Joshua against Francis Ngannou, which I can't believe we're actually talking about, but he earned the right. I mean, most people felt that he beat Tyson Fury. If you didn't, you thought it was a draw or 1 round to Fury. So all of a sudden he becomes super credible. Commercially, we know it's a big fight. And I think I've not even discussed that fight with Anthony. But my recommendation, if that fight come around, was to take it, because I feel he wins comfortably. But I'm not sure if Ngannou wants that fight.
It is mad, though, isn't it? Like, a couple of them opponents beforehand, you really kind of slammed the fights prior. Like, Otto Wallin was one, we spoke about that before, and then Ngannou.
I've been talking about AJ fighting. I've been talking about AJ fighting Otto Wallin for a long time.
When Otto Wallin was fighting Tyson Fury, you completely
really should have won that fight against Tyson Fury. How that fight wasn't stopped, I'll never know. But I slagged that fight before the fight, right? And he's since come back. He just beat Gassiev in Russia. It's a pretty big win. So he's earned, and again with Ngannou, like, I know, and I don't back down on what I said. When Ngannou Fury got made, I said it was a mismatch. When you've got a guy who is, and I rate Fury as a pound for pound fighter. I rate him as the #1 heavyweight in the world right now. He was fighting a guy that has never boxed before in a professional contest. I don't see how anyone really could have predicted, and I still don't think that Francis Ngannou is a threat to the heavyweight division. But prove me wrong. See if you can do the same to Anthony Joshua. Ngannou deserves incredible respect, because if it was an off night for Fury, whatever it was, you can't take away from the fact the guy's gone in there with the #1 in the world, and I thought beat him, but dropped him, hurt him, did all these things. So Ngannou deserves respect. And now, commercially, always credible. But now, respectfully, also credible for Anthony Joshua. And like I said, I believe he beats him comfortably. Maybe I'm wrong.
Coming onto this situation with Deontay Wilder, because I feel like obviously all year kind of this has been the talk of kind of where you want Anthony Joshua. Obviously since the Franklin fight, it was the path to Wilder now. And when realistically are you looking for that fight to happen, and is it realistic to happen? Like, what are the talks going on regarding that specific fight happening?
So, as you know, we all agreed to the fight in January. We agreed the money, everything. The fight fell through because it couldn't be delivered by the commercial people in Saudi Arabia that were involved with boxing at the time. It's fine, we understand. And since then, there's been a couple of conversations with Shelley Finkel, which is, we want to do the fight, but obviously the numbers that we were offered, unless we land a site fee deal, we're not going to get to that level, which is also fine. And we'll come back to commercial value of fighters later. So where we're at is we've had a couple of international approaches outside of the traditional venues. And by traditional, I'm talking Vegas and I'm talking Wembley. We know the numbers for those fights. If they are our only options, the fight can still get made. But there are conversations for considerably more money in other international venues.
Saudi Arabia?
Not really been any discussions with Saudi Arabia beyond the proposed January date. I think Saudi Arabia would be and should be interested in that fight, but we haven't had those discussions. Other territories are looking at that fight. I have to do my job to explore those opportunities rather than just say, yeah, let's just do it in London. And the focus right now, we know, December or January for AJ. That's what the plan is. And then March or April, at the moment, Deontay Wilder. So Wilder's now talking about fighting in January, I think, as well. I saw his comments the other day about flying over to see AJ. He's more than welcome to come over. I think actually it would be good. He should come in my office and have a chat with me. Because we want to make the fight, but we also want to do our job, obviously a priority for AJ. If we can land this big deal that we're looking at, then that's where we'll do the fight. If not, we still want to do the fight. It's not a case of, oh, if the money's not there, we're not going to do it. That is the fight. And the money in Vegas is big. Bigger than Wembley, but that's still big as well. So, like I said, it's really about positioning for the World Heavyweight title. We know that a victory for AJ against Deontay Wilder would put him mandatory with virtually every governing body. And if that's the way we have to get to the World Heavyweight title, that's what we'll do.
Eddie, obviously prior to the actual fight with Tyson Fury and Ngannou, when I spoke to Fury, made some very interesting comments when he was asked about the potential of ever seeing a fight with him and Anthony Joshua. And, you know, he was quite adamant at that point that his people in Saudi Arabia would never ever put that fight on, do not want to put that fight on between himself and AJ. And also that generally, like, that opportunity now for that fight to happen is gone. Now, this was prior to, obviously, the fight night with Ngannou. I'm sure you've seen those comments anyway.
I think that Fury AJ will always be the biggest fight in boxing until they get beat and so forth, and it will still be a big fight. Right now, if those two fought, it would be the biggest fight in boxing by a mile. I think Fury should fight Usyk because I think it's good to try and have undisputed champions. If Fury was to beat Usyk, the AJ fight still remains the biggest fight in boxing. So I just don't, you know, when I find these interviews quite difficult because I'm talking to you like I'm in a pub, right? We're debating like everybody else debates what's happening with this sport, that sport, and I don't know how long Fury's going to be around. Like, I don't know.
Frank Warren has come out and said in an interview yesterday, or saying that Tyson Fury is not retiring.
No, but he also said the fight was happening on December 23rd, guaranteed. Watch this space. Like, we all say my £500 bet. We say what we believe, but a lot of the time it doesn't always happen. When I saw him after the fight on TV and I heard that he didn't go to the press conference, I just felt sometimes, and this is like a bit like AJ after Andy Ruiz, I wouldn't be surprised if he just turned around and went, fuck it. Like, he will fight Usyk because there's a huge amount of money on the table. But if he beats Usyk, he might want to call it a day. And if he beats Usyk, he's had a fantastic career. But the creme de la creme in terms of money, in terms of legacy, I feel he's fighting AJ. And even if he's a big favourite going into that fight. And you imagine if AJ could beat Deontay Wilder.
Hold on. Imagine AJ, just pick that back up.
Imagine AJ beat Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury beat Alexander Usyk. Can you imagine how big that fight would be? So it's up to Fury. I'm not going to sit here and goad him and, because it's up to him. He can do whatever he wants to do. I just hope we can make that fight one day. I think if you said to AJ, like, bear in mind how important it is to fight for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think if you said to AJ, what would you prefer? To win the World Heavyweight Championship again or fight Tyson Fury? I think he might say the World Heavyweight Championship, but deep down, if he doesn't fight Fury in his career, he'd be gutted. And I'm always going to back AJ. Maybe it's rose-tinted glasses sometimes. But I know he beats him. And after watching that Ngannou fight, I really fancy he beats him. But let him fight Usyk. It's a great fight. It's great for boxing. And then see what happens.
How much are you to blame that fight hasn't happened yet?
Maybe like 10%, 15%, 10, 15%. I mean, ultimately, my instruction will always come from the fighter. And I feel like last time, and George Warren and deep down would agree that we weren't really given the time to execute the agreement. He knows that. And Fury put his own deadline on things that just all of a sudden got everyone's back up, AJ included, and just no one ever felt it was real. I don't think that the last time around was really my fault. I think maybe the very first time around, things were different. AJ was the world champion, and Fury said, I will only fight if it's 50-50, as a challenger, as a voluntary challenger. And I thought, fucking no way. Like, and at the time, commercially, he was nowhere near what he is now. AJ's accepted 60-40 as the challenger. But it's irrelevant anyway. So, yeah, I think that first time around, I was probably a little bit to blame with a lot of people. I still feel if you want to put the biggest percentage of the pie of blame, I think it's Tyson Fury. Because the way that he came out on social media with the deadlines and the goading, and it didn't seem like someone that actually wanted to make the fight. But look, we can debate all day long. He's going to say differently. Frank's going to say differently. Whatever. But it didn't happen. And there's still time. They're two guys at the top of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason, obviously, I asked that question in relation to this, and we've spoken about this before, and I think you've even admitted yourself that some people, they just, because they think, well, a bit of a prick, they don't want to work for you. No, but I'm being serious. They do. They just, their ego, I see it all the time, no, we're not working with Hearn, fuck Hearn, no, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, look at Teofimo Lopez.
What was all that about? Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Randomly, people tend to not like me. I can't call it a weakness because it's got me to where I am. It's these things, these poxy things. I mean, 1 minute I'm sitting here having a nice cup of coffee. Next minute, you're coming in trying to get me down to Basildon to have a tattoo, right?
It's Wickford, by the way.
All right, sorry.
No, Wickford.
Okay.
It's not Basildon.
Okay, mate.
We're a different class of people. No offence, I love Basildon.
Right.
But
Okay.
no, but Wickford, all
You're
right?
trying to get me down to Wickford to have a tattoo. So it's all, and I give you my honest opinion. And I think people like that. But it definitely gets people's back up the wrong way because I do so many interviews.
Yeah, but you don't have to say, things, do you?
Would you rather my honest opinion? People, the problem with this industry a lot of the time is people are so precious, right? If I think Tyson Fury against Francis Ngannou is a mismatch, do you want me, as a person that you follow, to tell you that's not a mismatch because I don't want to upset someone?
No, absolutely not.
But the problem is with the industry, when I say that, people go, right, I can't believe he said that. You said that about our fight. Be a pretty sad existence if I just went, oh, that's a great fight. I think that's what a close one. Oh, yes, and Ngannou, he looks very big and strong, doesn't he? I know he's never boxed before, but he could win that. I'm not.
But people aren't talking about those situations as such. You're obviously experiencing the game of when to drop in your little things every now and again to piss people off. You do it. You've done it over years.
I agree, but at the end of the day, what's me is me. And I'm not going to be a fake. I'm not going to sit here and be a snide. There's nothing worse than a snide. So at least you know when I'm saying it, yeah, but you... And I don't mind you dislike it. You don't have to I've always said it to you, you don't have to like me. But I'll always give it to you straight. And when you look at reputation of business in this industry, ours is second to none. This is not just some gobby geezer who likes to wind people up. We are second to none in terms of integrity, paying people on time, delivering on our promises. We don't mess around. We're a massive company. But I'm into the fuckery. It's it's part and parcel. And I saw someone comment the other day about, do people really want to keep listening to Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren going out? Yeah, I think they do. It is boring at times, don't get me wrong. But the competition is what keeps us living and breathing for boxing. So it is good in a roundabout way. For people not dealing with each other, yeah. But, I don't know, as I've got older, I've definitely become more diplomatic. But I will say, the industry is precious. It's not difficult to upset someone. I'm getting people, like Teofimo Lopez. I've never even, he's, going off last night. I'm looking at, so someone messaging me, have you seen that tweet from Teofimo? I'm like, no. Go on Twitter. I'm like, what's he going on about? So I guess I say so much. And people say to me, you talk too much. 100%. I'm a motor mouth. But that's also my job. You know that, don't you? I can't, so I don't know the answer. Shut up. Go missing. Go undercover. Unlikely.
No, we definitely don't want you to do that, especially our loyal listeners. I felt I just.
It's your fault.
No, it's not my fault. No, because ultimately you're a grown man and you've got to take accountability of what comes out of your mouth. But you're right when you're saying so many things especially during fight weeks. But I do think, sometimes, yeah.
But mainly it's the clickbait from you guys. If you actually listen to the interview, which most people won't because they just read the headline and go, Hearn, tosser. But actually, if you listen to it, I think most of what I say is bang on. I would say that. But if you actually read the headline, you lot are outrageous. Outrageous.
With you, we're not.
Hearn fumes at, Hearn fumes at Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury probably opens that, right, and goes, oh, he's slagging me off again. Bang, that's it.
But you probably were.
No, not Hearn hails Fury as #1 heavyweight in the world.
Who's going to fucking listen to that?
Thank you. So all these people that don't like me, at least watch the interview, okay? Rather than just read the clickbait that you lot and other outlets put out. Excuse me.
I thought that Tiafimo thing was quite a little bit bizarre. But yeah,
Like,
on X anyway, it's not Twitter, it's X now.
okay, sorry. But Tiafimo's like, yeah, DAZN will be over in 5 years, and then called me a silver spoon schmuck or something. That's not very nice, is it?
True, but fair.
Well, I don't understand. I mean, but this is a problem. Tiafimo's fighting the industry, right? I'm going to tell you something now that is so easy to understand, right? Everybody listen, and everybody will get this, right? Okay. This is really useful for fans, young fighters, everything. When you do a show, you'll have something called a budget. And I'm not being facetious here, right? I'm stripping it back in layman's terms. You plan a budget. It's the most effective part of running a successful business is budget planning, okay? You look at that budget. Now, in boxing, there are 4, 5 sometimes for bigger shows, merchandising, whatever, revenue streams. Let's look at Teofimo Lopez as an example. The promoter, Top Rank, who I feel, I don't always get on with Bob, but I sympathise with Bob in this instance. Bob will go to ESPN and he will go, I want to do a Teofimo Lopez fight. The broadcaster will run, as he said, Teofimo, the analytics, and they will look back on past performances, ratings, pay-per-view buys, if there's ever been a pay-per-view fight. All these things. Look at the fight that's upcoming and decide the value of that fight, right? It's called a rights fee. So they might come in and say, okay, he's fighting, and say it's just a standard defence against someone from the top 15. We believe that the value of this fight is X. From there, our job is to push the money with the broadcaster and work on behalf of the fighter to get as much TV revenue as possible from our partner. Were you with me so far?
Completely.
Okay. Now, normally when they come back with the analytics, somewhere between, 10% and 20% of the number, and you negotiate from there. But it's pretty clear where or whereabouts you're going to end. Then, the secondary source of income, normally, unless it's a massive ticket seller, is ticket sales. Okay? Now, the reality is, and I rate Teofimo, by the way. I think he's brilliant for the sport. I think he's a character. I think he's a great fighter. When we did Teofimo against CASSIUS, we crept over the line for a sellout at the theatre. 4,000 tickets. Now, he might say, yeah, but you didn't promote it properly. It was on DAZN or whatever. Fast forward 2 years or a year, and he's fighting Josh Taylor in a massive fight, doesn't sell out the Garden, 4,000 tickets. Okay? Top Rank know exactly what the gate would be for a standard defence. I'm not talking about CASSIUS for Undisputed. I'm not talking about Josh Taylor in a great fight. for a standard defence what the money from the ticket sales would be. Again, excuse me, within 10%. Okay? Sponsorship, international TV, merchandise, small revenue. Okay? Costs of running the show, bottom line, ultimately, what we can pay Teofimo Lopez. That number is transparent. Okay? So, imagine how far out you are. I would say, plucking a number from the sky, knowing the industry, knowing the budgets, a number that Top Rank would want to pay Teofimo Lopez for a defence is, call it 2 million. Right? I reckon he's after 10 or 8. Right? Imagine our job going in, sitting down with a fighter and saying, okay, this is the offer to it. I want 10. Okay, you want 10. On what basis? Well, that's what I'm worth. Is it? How? How are you worth 10 million? Because I know the numbers, and that's what I'm worth. This could be a conversation. This is conversations I've had with fighters before. Okay, well, let me show you the budget. Oh, I don't care what that says. That's ridiculous. No, that's reality, mate. That's reality. Don't think you sell out the main room of the Garden. Don't think ESPN are going to pay all this money. Well, you're going to do 500,000 pay-per-view buys. That's the reality. And this is why you boxed, I think, once in 2021, twice in 2022, once in 2023. Teofimo Lopez should be fighting in December. And this is the problem with fighters. They don't understand the business. And they can talk about, it's a joke, fighters aren't getting what we deserve. You know, flip to the UFC, where, you know, we promoters might be on a 20% margin of a show, with fighters getting 80%. It's the other way around with UFC. Boxers are in a very fortunate position, but the industry has to pay the commercial value for the fighter.
Edward, my card stopped. He was in free fall.
I was absolutely flying.
So I don't actually know exactly where it stopped, but just try and pick it up from.
Great.
It was about Lopez anyway.
Oh, thanks. Literally 10 minutes of absolute genius, and now you just got my.
No, I haven't cut. No, we got it. Okay. Just a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. So he should be hoping that the zones stay in the game. But you know, and I'm not having a pop at Teofimo. I think he needs to fight. Like, you need to have someone. You can't just say that's not the right number. Business doesn't work like that. It's not 10 mil. It's black and white, mate. Read it. Oh, well, that's rubbish. How's it rubbish? Well, I should be selling many more tickets than that. Well, you don't. Right? People like myself, and especially Bob, who's been around years and years and years, they know the business like the back of their hand. Myself and Bob, we can put budgets together on a sixpence of what the number will be. Right? And Bob is sitting there, and I feel, like I said, and I've had this conversation with fighters before, and I keep saying to you, these conversations are going to be coming thick and fast, and with a lot more brutality of reality. You know? And that's why I keep saying to fighters now, you have to entertain. Because if you don't, your value is not going to be there. I know the money you want, and it's not going to play out like that. So that's my opinion. I hope that was simple enough for people to understand when you have a conversation with it. And that's the decision as a promoter. See, Bob may have a decision now where the only thing you can do with Teo is put him in a massive fight with Tank or someone to try and give him that kind of money. But he probably wants like 15, 20 million to fight Tank or Haney. It's just not there. So I hope Teofimo can get back in the ring. Great boxer, great character, a little bit out there, but that's it. And that's my honest opinion. No beef, straight up.
Well, that's the fullest explanation to me asking you about a tweet ever, I think. But yeah, it's insightful to hear it. I know some of the stuff that.
Business is easy to understand, especially when it's the boxing business. Unfortunately, not enough people want to. They don't really want to read that. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to be told the reality and what. And listen, some people go out maybe a new platform opens up and maybe he gets 10 mil for a fight that's worth 2. Good luck to him. And every fighter should try and make as much money as possible. Good luck to him. But we, as a business, have to live in the real world of what it says in black and white.
Okay, right. Well, look, let's just skim through a few things, get your comments and like Eddie's reactions to certain things.
Here we go.
What do you mean? Here we go.
So-and-so said he's a prick. So-and-so said he's losing it. So-and-so said he's having a midlife crisis. So-and-so said there was only 400 people in Monaco in the Casino de Monte Carlo. So-and-so said... Go on.
Was there only 400 people?
Less, I think it's 300.
Yeah. I dread to think how much the tickets were, though. So, I think Frank's gone on talking about December 23rd, about this event that the Saudi Arabia is still looking to put on, obviously, despite the Fury and Usyk fight not happening. Going to try and get anyone on the card there, Ed?
I said the other day, like, I'm not going to talk too much on it because I don't, trying to be, I forget the word, but yeah, I said in an interview, I think with IFL, with Andy, Colm in Monaco, we have had conversations about some of our fighters on that card. Whether the fight card happens, we'll see. But we have a number of big names that would be ready to fight on that date.
Okay. Will we get a confirmation next week for Eubank, Ben?
I'm not betting on it, but yeah, like honestly, that fight could be done this weekend. Honestly, could take another 2 weeks. Again,
where's the sticking point, or who's the sticking point with?
When you can't, from our side, 100%, our side will be ready to sign this weekend or Monday. So, but I can't control what Chris Eubank Jr. and Keller. All I know is they want to make the fight and we're negotiating. And there's no other fight out there that generates anywhere near that kind of money for him. And I know that's what he wants. So, from a common sense perspective, next week, yes. But by sitting here and saying that, it gets boring. And then next week comes, well, probably tomorrow comes, and you interview me again saying, any update on Chris Eubank Jr.? So, yeah.
Well, we clearly know the venue because you were there.
Well,
why would you be there, eh?
I took my kids, who are Tottenham fans, to actually...
Why are your kids Tottenham fans, by the way?
Because I was a Tottenham fan growing up. And
he was the O's, come on.
Yeah, Orient. But if I had any Premier League team, it would be Spurs. And the stadium's unbelievable. And they're very good people down there as well.
Did you have discussions while you were there?
Yes. Not minor. We know we're negotiating the deal with them anyway. But what I will say is, what game of football? I mean, that
it was probably
I watch 2 games a year live, right? And probably less than that on TV, honestly.
That was probably the most insane game of the Premier League season so far, yeah.
VAR is an interesting discussion. Probably not one for this chat, but, I'm looking at the audience, the new generation. My kids are watching that going, what? Hold on, he scored. No, he hasn't. Hang on a minute. No, he hasn't. What about when Chelsea scored? It was offside, but then they pulled it back a minute before for a penalty. So imagine explaining that to a kid. Yeah, and they're like, so what happened there, Dad? Yeah, what happened is they scored, but it was offside. Oh, right, okay, on VAR, yeah? Yeah, on VAR. Why is it a penalty then? Oh, because what happened earlier was he got taken down in the box. Oh, and by the way, it's a red card as well, and he's off. And then we're running it back to a foul that happened down the pitch, and now he's got a yellow card. Do you know what I'm saying? So I know that was a unique match in that respect, but what do you think about VAR? As a proper football fan.
Fucking hell. Don't get me wrong, this is going to sound really like a little bit whatever, but when VAR's in your favour, obviously you generally think, fucking hell, we wouldn't have got that goal without VAR, but when Arsenal got screwed the other day against Newcastle, I don't know if you know it, there was 3 VAR offences that didn't go in Arsenal's favour. So
went off the pitch, the ball.
Correct. Excuse me. Yeah. What?
Follow the
I'm
old.
quite surprised you knew that, but then there's like
Yeah, I've seen it.
illusions of the ball. They're all discussing. But there was three. There was a foul and also a potential offside. So that's three things that went in Newcastle's favour the other day. When that happens, I fucking hate VAR. But when they rule us a goal or something happens, it swings and roundabouts. So it is what it has killed the passion of the game though, because goals have gone in, people have celebrated for 2 minutes, and it's been pulled back.
Yeah. They don't play it in the stadium either, do they? The replays. They didn't play any of the other.
They do it.
I
Some
think only for tackles or something, not for.
certain ones they may not, because it rolls the crowd up.
As an Arsenal fan, happy.
I'm happy. Well, we won 2-0 last night against Seville in the Champions League. Do you know about the Champions League? It's where all like the elite. It's the elite of Europe are in there.
So the Champions League, is that the ones that just the champions playing?
It used to be that when it was. It used to be that.
Just before people think, oh my God, like, I'm joking, right? I know what the fucking Champions League is. But as an Arsenal fan, because obviously you were flying last year and you were all getting overly excited, just wondered what the buzz is. Because obviously over Spurs at the minute, that was a bit of a kick in the nuts the other night, but they're buzzing. So I know you two, you know what I mean, because it's North London rivalry, innit? You know what I mean?
It just baffles me. He was vice chairman at a football club. But anyway, but you know we're all right, Arsenal, in a minute. It's just a bit of a tough week last week. Anyway, it's weird talking to football with you. So that's that. So
you don't know, as a kid, you don't know that I had a youth team contract with Spurs.
Have you got this contract anywhere?
It was just a porcupine.
What's the other thing? I was going to ask you something random. Oh yeah, was you at the Benn-Eubank fight?
Yes.
Do you know why?
Do you know someone said this to me the other day?
Yeah, do you know why? And I'm going to actually name who I had a conversation with. No. So I was having a conversation the other day in Saudi Arabia with Andy Ayling from Queensbury, who said to me that you wasn't at the fight. And I said, well, I don't know. I said, I wasn't at the fight, so I couldn't tell you. But he's adamant that you wasn't at the fight, despite you saying that you was at the fight. Yeah.
I was at the fight and I had on my jacket. I had on the jacket from the fight. I spoke to Jamie Moore about this the other day. That's why I thought, because we were talking about the fight and the night and everything. So, yes, I was at the fight.
Okay. Is there any photographs of you at the fight?
Wait.
No, listen, we was having this random discussion in Saudi Arabia about it.
14 years of age at the biggest fight of all time that my dad... Do you not... like? And I was around boxing non-stop. Of course I was fucking there.
Well, look, I actually don't see why it's a big thing, but to Andy Ayling, he was like, yeah.
It would be a big thing.
Of Queensbury Promotions, if anyone didn't know who Andy was.
Formerly
Formerly of Matchroom as well. Okay, so we're closing out the year. We'll have a little review at the end of the year of how you think 2023's gone. No UK pay-per-views. What?
I must be
No, it's not good.
I must be popular with fans.
It's not good. Because that just tells me that...
I had no UK pay-per-views in 2020.
You're going to spin this, because my version of you having no UK pay-per-views is that you've made no big fights in the UK this year.
Okay. Right. So, I had no pay-per-views in 2022. UK pay-per-views. 23, sorry. I did have American pay-per-views.
Correct.
Canelo Alvarez, Devin Haney against Prograis. That's it. You're all disappointed that I'm not doing as many.
Some people are. I'm just saying.
You are.
I am a little bit. Yeah.
So I'm going to make you happy next year, right? And we're going to do at least 3 UK pay-per-views next year.
Brilliant.
Okay.
I'll say it. I can't talk for people, but that's on. If you're putting a UK pay-per-view on, that's what I perceive to be a big fight.
Firstly, let's get Benn-Eubank over the line. We kick off with end of Jan or first week of Feb. It's a good start. Yeah.
How many shows do you reckon you put on in 2024?
At least 60.
60. Don't. I still don't believe you're going to have this tattoo done. Anything else? Obviously, yeah. Just a little recap from Monaco from the weekend. It looked amazing.
It was. I mean, look, it's a bit of a strange event to kind of watch on TV. From an event perspective, it was such a brilliant night. I mean, it's 300 people with the Prince, SBM, Casino de Monte Carlo, unbelievable. Really good night of boxing. Joe Cordina, in a tough fight, thought he won. Most people did. I think Vasquez did very well. Needs a big fight now. Non-Shinga against Curiel was unbelievable. I don't know if you saw it, knockout of the year in the second round. Brilliant win for Ramla Ali, coming back and avenging that defeat to Guzman. Sudi Sissoko with a good win. This weekend we're in next gen. It's actually a really good card up there. A couple of really good kind of English title fights. Of course, headlined by Shabazz Massoud, who was supposed to fight 3 weeks ago in Liverpool. Come through with an illness. That's a really good fight against San Martin. Look out for Cameron Vong. Look out for Jimmy Sains and loads of our young stars on the undercard as well. Next week, we're in Los Angeles. Diego Pacheco against Caceres. Brilliant fight between Erica Cruz and Maylene Rivas for the world title. Mark Castro on the card as well. Cal Yafai back in action in a really good fight on that card. And then things really hot up in Dublin, of course, for the Cameron Taylor rematch. Going to be epic, huge.
Who's your money on, Edward?
Well, you know, Chantel has to be the favourite going into that fight. But I know Katie and I know what she'll find to try and win that fight. And it is going to be an unbelievable fight.
Really, like, a strange situation with Katie Taylor going into this fight, isn't it?
But that's boxing. They're asked for that. Now you're kind of fighting for your career, I guess people were saying. Great card as well. And then Belfast, which is a cracking night. I mean, I think we've got just the expensive tickets left in Dublin. And Belfast, we're through 5,000 already. I expect that to get to 7,000 or 8,000. I think it'll be a tremendous night. Mick Conlon against Jordan Gill, Agyarko against Williamson, etc., etc. And then 2 really big weeks stateside. Devin Haney against Prograis, which is flying at the gate. I think we're through 11,000 now. I reckon we're going to get 15,000 in there. Be unbelievable. I mean, the first ever boxing event in the Chase Arena, which is such a great arena. And to rock up to San Francisco, especially as a British promoter. And we kind of rolled the dice a little bit because they don't have boxing there. So I'm really pleased with that. I think it's a great, great fight. Then, of course, down to Phoenix for Bam against Sonny, which will be great, and a big card. And there's 3 Brits on that card as well, which kind of been unofficially announced, but will be shortly. December 23, we'll see what happens. Unlikely we'll have a show, but I think we might have some fighters fighting that night, we'll see. And then we're going to go as early as January the 13th. So...
What's January 13th?
It's going to be a show in America. Could be Dimitri Bivol, but we're in conversations about him fighting internationally as well. And then January 20th looks like Japan, which will be announced soon for our first date. 27th, UK show, or Benn-Eubank, and Feb 3rd, vice versa. And then, you know, we're looking at some big fights. Hopefully we get Catchall Taylor over the line.
I was going to ask you that. What, you said you was going to make an offer to Bob Arum, yeah?
We haven't yet, but we've been speaking to Top Rank, and we plan to make that offer imminently. We're just talking to DAZN about the schedule. That's a fight we want to try and make. Of course, Lee Wood at the City Ground. Could it be a Josh Warrington rematch? Could it be Joe Cordina? Could it be another champion? And then, obviously, Benn-Eubank, get that. And then you've got 3 nice sort of key moments there, certainly to April, May, that we can build around and have a great schedule. So all of the work at the moment is just securing that schedule for next year.
Okay, well, yes, Newcastle. Yeah. Go on.
Parsons asked me for an interview today, and out of respect...
Sorry, who?
Charles.
Peter?
Peter Parsons.
Are you joking, mate? Go on.
Out of respect, I did yours first.
Out of respect?
Yeah, because I just felt like, you know, you asked me first, and then he came on last night and went, any chance of a Zoom? It's Zoom as well, not in person. But I was like, he said, can I do it, you know? And I could have done it earlier because I had some time, but I thought I'll do it after KUGAN. So later on today I will be doing Parsons on Zoom. So make sure you get back and get this out.
You're not allowed to do Parsons until 9 o'clock tonight.
Why?
And I'll let you off the tattoo.
No. Oh, all right.
Absolutely not. No way. Parsons can put it out before me for I care. Okay, Edward Hearn, thank you very much. You're going to do your transaction to
I'll do it now.
the Samaritans. Well, you haven't got to do it.
No, but I won't do it on the interview.
All
I'll
right.
do it this second.
Okay. Right. Last time. Are you going to do this thing? Because
What?
once you've said it and I've put this out, then you're definitely a proper
But
break.
can I get out of it? Because I can just say, no, I'm not doing it.
If you, all right, you said it, and if you want to back out, then you'll just be known as someone who doesn't really know. Who's going to believe you when next time you're trying to sell a fight if you can't even keep to this? Are you actually going to do it? Let me slap you now. I'll just do it now.
No. Speak to the geezer.
Yeah.
and
That's
find-
Paul.
yeah. Just
But do it next week then. Like literally, don't do it next week.
I'm in Los Angeles next week. Oh, well, I'm about earlier in the week.
Okay.
But like when you have a tattoo, can you train? Can you?
You can do everything. You just can't go into direct sunlight a lot. So wherever it is, you can't have it out if it's fresh.
How long?
I don't know. Like that whole week you're in LA. Got rid of the dad bod, getting a tattoo. He's probably gonna get a little Corvette.
Like the one that goes like that, like something sort of humble, legend, or something like that. I've got it. Goat.
The tattoo's up to you. Eddie, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
No, I hope everyone's well. I mean, I don't get a chance to speak to you that much because obviously Kugan's very busy. What can I tell you? I had a really, really interesting conversation on my BBC podcast, which will be out soon, with Stuart Broad, who spoke so well. His book's out now. I haven't read it yet, but I think it's probably worth a read. And he talked about, like, I think in life, you're always learning, you're always evolving, right? And you have to be open-minded because, I have to be honest, like, the way that I was brought up doesn't necessarily mean that it was right and doesn't necessarily mean that others should be brought up like that. So I'm going a bit deep here and a bit personal, but I'll give you an example. I was taught that winning is everything, right? Like, honestly, taking part is completely irrelevant if you don't win. When I spoke to Stuart Broad the other day, he talked about how his parents were more like, just go and enjoy the game. Like, I don't care if you win or lose, I want you to love it, right? In the summer, when England was in the Ashes, the coach, we talk about this Bazball, which is the style of cricket they were playing. The coach came out and said to the players, I don't care about the result. I want you to go out there and just play your heart out, right? I want you to make the back pages. I want you to do something special. I want you to put a performance together that everyone is going to go. And this is an entertainment world that we live in. Go and entertain the fans and you will be a hero, right? I said in Test Match Special, like they said, we're not results orientated. That was the key. And I was like, how can you not be results orientated? This is the Ashes. You have to win the Ashes, like by any means necessary. And it just was a conversation that just made me think, you have to love what you do. And it changed, like it really made me think about results oriented. Like everything that we do is, like for us, it might be numbers, right? Subscriptions, ratings, gate, how many people were there? How many views did it do? Rather than live the moment and enjoy it. And do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you do that, maybe the results come. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like I had this conversation where I was like, wow, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to hit numbers and hit targets. But if you ask me, what gives you the best feeling in your business, in your career, right? Honestly, being involved with a night and a card and a fight that is just unbelievable. Like looking around and everyone going, fuck, oh, this is unbelievable. This is, and like most recently, I don't know, it might be Wood Warrington, right? Where everyone's walking around after going, that was unbelievable. I can't believe it. That's what gives me the best feeling. So I don't know where I'm really going for this, but what I'm trying to get at is live free as a free spirit in what you do and do it with passion and love. If you have the ability and you do that, like the cricket, you will win or you will succeed. If you don't have the ability in anything, you're only going to get to a certain level. But I think that, and it's something I have to speak to my old man about because I think maybe he brought me up wrong. But I was talking to Stuart Broad about it. I found it fascinating. And I'm a little bit like that with my kids. I've got to change a little bit. Like when they play football, it's like, it might be performance. Like I would say to my daughter, you right there? What are you poking at?
That battery's got 48 seconds left.
I would say to if my daughter's come off and she didn't play very well, I would say to her, you didn't have a great game today. I think I've got to stop that. I've got to say, the first question I've got to say is, do you enjoy it? And that's how I'm going to end. Just something for you to think about.
Eddie Hearn, thank you very much. 20 seconds. Eddie Hearn, thank you very much for your time. Newcastle Next Gen Show live on DAZN this week.
There, boy.
And yes, we'll wait for the Benn-Eubank announcement next week. Thanks for imminent.
Samaritans on the way.
Thank you very much.